Ah,
So for me, this is episode 2 of Ascendant Thoughts, and today I'm really, really excited. I got a really, really dope person. Her name is Earth, and we just divinely connected. I just love that the universe brought us together. Like I just love connecting with like a good like kindred soul. Like it's beautiful. Like as soon as we had our first conversation, we was just like boom, an hour
yeah.
just talking. Like you would have
Okay, I
thought
know what you're here for. You the
you
balance. All right, cool, cool.
right. Like, you would have thought we would have known each other forever. We were just like, yeah,
Yeah,
so this
yeah,
and that. Like it was really great. So I am so happy to have her on today. And we just letting things flow. And I'm really excited about this. This is really beautiful. But you can definitely tell us more about yourself and let's get to know you and just let it go.
All right, so I'm Earth. I have a podcast as well, Unconscious Conversations. So basically, I'm somebody that transitioned from, I want to say, a very, very, very dark place into the light, and finding my light, throughout all of that darkness. So it's a beautiful journey, and I feel like with so many other people that go through similar or maybe going through the same thing, just to be that beacon of light, like listen, there's ways to go about this differently. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm here to do. I definitely consider myself as a new earth teacher. So yeah, we have to figure
Yes.
this out.
I love that. And that definitely like ties into like our episode of what we're having today. Basically, like bringing light to something that's considered dark in the eyes of society. And it does not have to be dark. Like it's only dark to us because it was taught that it was dark. We was taught to be afraid of the dark, literally from
Mhm.
everything. That's why I was like when my first episode, I remember talking about watching like scary movies and stuff like that and how it never set right with me personally.
Mhm.
Remember speaking about like how I feel like they're teaching you to be afraid of your power because when you think about all like the scary movies, what time of the day do everything start? What time of the day does it start feeling like scary? Like when like the monster come out basically. It's at
The-
nighttime. But then
mhm.
also when it's light outside, oh, everything is good, everything is fine and stuff like that. But it's like, really at nighttime, that's when shit be going. That's really when the
Mhm.
energy be the most powerful to like tap into. Like,
Mhm.
so like you
Mhm.
facing the monsters instead of hiding from them. So how do you feel about that? Like how do you feel about do you feel like any stigma that you feel like the society have anything like trying to get us to basically be afraid of our power by bringing these like movies and stuff and making us afraid of like dark stuff like voodoo and hoodoo and all the other stuff or whatever. Like
So it's definitely, they definitely want to harvest us of our powers and kind of like, flip it and, say, oh, this is bad or that is bad. And that's why, religion came into play because we need y'all to follow a script. You know what I'm saying? So we teach y'all, hey, if you do this and this go against God, or we teach you to tap in with your ancestors or your spirit team, etc., and you tap into those things, they knowing that you will gain a higher understanding of who you truly are, so definitely, they put us into these fearful states, and we aren't even born with the any type of fear outside of the fear of noise and the fear of falling. You know what I'm saying? So anything else that we fear is programmed, into us to keep us from vibrating higher or to have, that higher awareness. So
mm,
definitely, they definitely teach us to be afraid of the dark and the monsters, etc. And it teaches us to be afraid of ourselves. If we never conquer, those monsters and that we become the monster and created, the monster reality. Now we monsters motherfucking ink. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Uh, so,
Exactly. They teach us to be afraid of the same things that they're utilizing their self. They like, oh, it's power in this, but we gotta keep it to ourselves. Like we can't have everybody else doing this type of stuff. Oh no, don't do that. And then
mhm,
we also got to create something to make more people mad at these people for knowing about this stuff that we want to keep to ourselves. So we're putting them all against each other while we sitting here on our high thrones and living on our heaven on earth, but we want everybody to live in hell. So we're creating this basically dynamic where everybody is creating this hell for each other while we sit in our heaven on earth.
exactly. And you know what's so deeper than that? Because the hell is just being created by the value we seek outward. I feel like for the most part, one of the biggest lessons that I learned this year, on top of many lessons, was that there's nothing outside of you. Everything around you that comes into your life, every experience is a mirror of you internally.
Yep.
Um, so they teach us to be like, so just like so driven. I kind of missed my chain of thought, but I'm gonna rock out. They just teach us to be so outside of ourselves, so we really just never tap into that power and inside of us. And we are some powerful motherfuckers.
We are.
Like we can't. One thing I will say is I'm able to speak from experience, and I watch, me just having gaining an understanding of who I was outside of everything I experienced outside of that darkness. I mean, I could see a full 180, in my life just from having, that understanding. So it's extremely, essential
Yeah.
for people to really know who they are and not allow, them to be energy harvesters. So that's really what it is.
That is so true. And that's exactly why I started like into like my business of doing like spiritual guidance. And it's something I'm starting to be like more open about because like a lot of times I was questioning like, well, what qualifications do I have? I got life. I got the qualifications of life, baby. Like I feel like people like us that went through stuff and now are out speaking, like speaking out about, hey, this is how you can overcome this stuff. And it's like, you ain't went to no school for this, you ain't did no degree for this. I went through this myself. So that's how I'm able to tell you, like, that's a lot of times we didn't really like grow up. We just felt like elders was just speaking just to be speaking. Like I feel like if I could go back and actually like take in everything like my elders was telling me, and I'd be like, and what you talking about? You don't know what you talking about. You ain't qualified in this. You ain't qualified in that. They are qualified. Did this. This is life. This is real life stuff for real. Like, come on now. Like, for real. Yes.
And it should. And I was just telling my uncle that because he wanted to do the life coach, and I'm like, yo, it's like we go through it, and it's like, how do you learn? What's the best teacher? Like you have to experience. Experience is the best teacher. Pain is the best teacher. So I'm come up here and teach some that people are going to be able to feel because they're able to resonate with that pain or that energy. So yeah, I don't see myself because I wanted to do the same thing, life coach, and I'm like, yo, like they're gonna strip me of my authenticity, and that's really what it's about. Oh,
Yeah.
let me strip you down. Oh, I gotta follow this type of, what is it? The breakdown of
Oh,
a
yeah.
curriculum, learning curriculum to be me. I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, and
I'm
then
not.
I had a close friend of mine's that was in therapy, and she basically felt like she had to move out of it because she felt confined to like what society told her in a way. Like she felt like she wasn't able to like really be as free in her guidance as she wanted to. So that's why she switched to just being like a spiritual guidance. Like I'm pretty sure
Mm,
like the knowledge and everything has definitely like been helpful for her and for others, but she just felt
mhm.
confined under like the government's thumb in a way. And I definitely
Right.
understand that for sure because
Mhm.
like I want to be a teacher. I want to do this. And I'm like, I still can be. I just don't want to go to school for it because I don't want to be confined under the thumb of like the government what curriculum I can and cannot teach. Like I know that who comes to me and needs to be like taught about certain situations, then I'm free to teach them what needs to be teach. I don't have to be watched.
Right.
Be like, you can get fired for that. You can get fired for saying, oh, this is that, somebody's this or Trump is this. You know what I mean? Like you can get fired for say anything political and stuff like that. Like you really not free for real. And
Mhm.
that's not how we're supposed to live. We're not supposed to be confined. We're supposed
Mhm. At
to be
all.
free.
We're so free spirited. Like we're so like free spirited, and it's crazy because like for me, growing up, so I didn't have any guidance. So when things started to really hit rock bottom, it was like I started to look for guidance. And I remember the first thing, I was trying to do was figure out who I was. And I did go to my zodiac sign. I went to my zodiac sign. They're telling me these things, these things like you're free spirit. And I'm like, wow, like these things really resonate. And I kind of went, to different things. It was like I was being guided. It was like a path was being placed from my higher self, when it came that time and like, okay, I'm ready to figure it out, all in all, certain things. And I started to like read certain things and read my life path, and I started to read up on things. And I remember it was saying like, you are a teacher, and I'm like, I used to love teaching as a little girl. It brought me back to I had so many childhood memories erased because I've experienced so much in life, so my
Girl,
childhood was compromised.
yeah.
So, I've been in a survival, I want to say energy mindset since about six. So like I ain't new to this. I'm true to
No,
this.
for real. I definitely feel you. Can we definitely talk about like how trauma can really like mess up your memory too, like when it comes to like I've literally had moments where I just surrounded myself with so much like darkness of the bad parts of my memory. I be forgetting about like the little good stuff that made me happy. I'm like, oh, that did happen. Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's like, oh, like it's just like the realization, like it's funny because I didn't really realize until me, like my friend was talking and he's like, yeah, you remember I told you like this is this and that. And I'm like, no, I don't remember that. He's like, oh, it's okay, baby. You've been through a lot lately this week. I'm like, what? What you talking about? I'm like, dang. I did
Mhm.
hear that trauma messes with your memory. Okay, that makes sense.
It does. It wipes you. I feel like my memory now, like once I started to like shed, I want to say layers of trauma, and a lot of things started to resurface as like the bad things around those timings started to clear out. I started to get little glimpses. It's so crazy because one of my favorite memories is I was about 3 years old in Blockbuster. They used to do this thing where they record you, they record you and you'll be in there doing whatever the case is. And I remember vividly seeing this little girl and I can go like I can see it right now in my mind's eye, just me being there and like so energetic and everybody like, oh my, and I'm just sitting there and it's like, but I know that that memory was like so significant because it like really painted the picture of who I was before the trauma, before, having to survive, before it all. And
Yes.
right now I'm 34 years old and that was 31 years ago. So it's like, okay, it's that little girl, that was buried, in that darkness and like really forgot all of those, those good moments, childhood pictures,
Yeah,
girl, nothing. Okay. Like nada.
same.
Like nothing.
I definitely get that. And it's, what's crazy, Spirit, I feel like Spirit have brought like kids in my life to remind me of that part of like that kid part of myself. Like I remember my brother's daughter, I was just like hanging out with her for like the first time and she was like I was like singing and she's like, okay, wait, get up. And I want you to go like this, like you're in a music video, and I want you to sing like this. And I'm like, I used to be like that little girl. And it's crazy because she's a Sagittarius. Remember, I told you I'm a Sagittarius rising. So I know
Mhm.
that's how I was as a little kid. I was just like this flaunty
Yeah.
girl that was just like this, and everything. She's like,
Mhm.
okay, now pose like this and do this and then sing. And I want you to do this while you sing. And I was like, I was literally that dramatic growing up. And now
Mhm.
that I'm learning to step back into that energy, and when I was reminded by it, I was like, oh dang, this is fun. Like it's free. I like
Mhm.
it. But like
Really.
some people be like, oh, that's weird, and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm tired of that. I'm so tired of like I was telling you before, just giving a fuck about what other people think, like just being like you. And I feel like
Free.
it's the true meaning of freedom. Like people always like, oh, I'm looking for freedom, I'm looking for this, I want to be free and stuff like that. But it's more to it. It's about being like mentally free. You have to be mentally free first before you can make yourself physically free. Um,
Mm,
I was reading this book by this girl, about this woman. I forgot her name when I found out, but it was a Harriet Tubman book. She basically channeled the spirit of Harriet Tubman in her book. And Spring, her name is Spring Washam. And I was walking through, where was I walking? I was in Barnes and Noble, and I saw the
mm,
book. And on the cover, it's a picture of Harriet Tubman with her hand out like this, like
mm,
follow me. And I looked at it, and I just kept looking at it, and I was like, I took a picture of it, and I was like, I'm gonna get this book. Like it's something about it that's calling me. Like I literally felt her spirit, like had her hand out, like come here. And
mm,
I'm like, okay.
mm,
So I downloaded the book on Audible, and I was listening to it. And basically, one of the main things in the book that she was saying for me, and she said, I felt like I did my job when it came to freeing my people physically, but mentally, we are still stuck. I was like, oh, and she was like, and she told the woman that channeled her, she said, you and many others, it's now your turn to do that. That's what our job is now. The people that they call Hotep, the people that they call conscious, that's our job. We're going to look crazy to anybody else or whatever, but our job is to free our people
mhm,
mentally.
mhm.
Still stuck. We still
That's true.
got chains.
That's true.
Still
That was one
bonded.
of the first downloads I got. And it kind of broke me out of the matrix. And I remember like when my spiritual gift started to turn on, it was like I'll be doing something. It was like whoop, 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 all types of shit. So I'm like, hold up, what's going on? Like, where did that just come from? But then as I'm like remembering, it's more like a remembrance. But as it's like coming to me, it's like, hold up, this shit make a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? So yes, um, mentally we're stuck.
Yeah,
Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind.
that's true.
They tricked us when they took the shackles off our feet and our hands.
Hmm.
They really put it on our minds. The
Yeah.
government, we're governing the mental.
Yeah.
What I will say is it's definitely, that time and where we shift because Earth shifted consciousness. So I'm more energy based, laws of the universe. That's kind of like my drill because my understanding is, the Ten Commandments, whatever it is that you follow, these religious practices or, whatever it is, ancient Kemet, however far you want to go back, I feel like all of it is energy centered,
Yeah.
right? Even when we speak of, figures and, Thoth and et cetera, and these spiritualists from, ancient Kemet, et cetera, I feel like it's more of an energy base.
Yeah.
Um, we are definitely mentally enslaved, and the power in the mental. Your mind is all.
Yeah.
Your mind is all.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. It's like your mind is all.
It really is. Like it really can make your reality into exactly what you want it to be. Like people don't understand how powerful it is. Like they're so fixated on the negative aspects and just like, see, I told you bad things keep happening to me. Yeah, because you literally want bad things to happen. You literally saying, yeah, bad things gonna keep happening to me. Guess what? They're gonna keep happening to you. Oh, I can't do this. Guess what? Your mind gonna be like, oh, we can't do this. You keep saying, oh,
Mhm.
everything is going wrong. Guess what? Everything gonna keep going wrong.
Exactly. It
What do
is.
you expect? Like it's
It
gonna
is.
happen.
It
It's
is.
gonna happen. I'm speaking from experience. I ain't look. One thing about it, we ain't trying to shun nobody. We ain't trying to speak down nobody. We trying to let y'all know this is stuff that we actually like went through. Like this is stuff that we're actually going through, and honestly, actively still going through. I'm still breaking out of it. I'm still freeing myself, and I just feel more powerful when I'm bringing along people on my freedom on my freedom road too.
Hmm.
Like, that's what makes me feel like I'm healing myself when I see myself guiding and healing others too.
Hmm. They
So
say that's when you know that you're really healing, is when you know you want to now give that healing onto others, because there are so many people that really don't know that they're creating these realities for themselves. I have 6 kids, 3 baby fathers. It took me in 2023 to say, oh shit, wait a minute. You created this for yourself. And I created it from, experience. I created the same reality that my mother had, down to the men that I was, attracting, toxicness, domestic violence, everything that she had going on, the amount of kids. And I kind of brought this onto myself because of my mindset. I was programmed to think, a healthy love was okay, we fight now, but we get back together, because we really love each other. So I grew up for years, and I'm saying this because this is how real energy is. I've given so much energy to my parents' marriage. I've given so much energy to my father. I was a daddy's girl, and I put so much energy into their situation to where it manifested into mine, and it wasn't the best situation. It took for me to really look in the mirror one day, and my mother's name is Lisa, and I said, "Oh, I'm Lisa." And I sat there, and it's just like I looked at myself, and then something just clicked. At that moment, it said, you know what? You become the person that you resent.
yeah,
Pain is the best teacher.
yeah, it really,
Pain is the best teacher. So,
yeah. That's why I like really making sure that you tap into like that energy of like healing your your parent wounds is just like really, really big. Like that's really like the that's like the foundation of everything. You
mhm.
the energy of what you like been through growing up because like you said, well, like with men and everything, I feel like I just had to accept everything just to accept it because I was accepting any and everything from the men in my family growing up. Like I just thought that was what you call love. Like this was the type of love that I'm supposed to accept because this is the type of love that I've always received. And then don't let that man be a little bit better than what you had received before. So you like, okay, so they're better than what this person was that I grew up with. And I grew up with this person and they're related to me and they tell me that they love me and stuff like that. So obviously, this person got to be better, but they just doing like small little bare minimums of what you actually really deserve. So it's just
Mhm.
like learning to like basically heal and forgive that situation. It guides you to be able to receive the real love and the real energy that you actually really deserve.
So it's so crazy that you just brought that up, because I'm so excited to talk about this right now. Um, and this is coming from someone that, first I want to say, I definitely had a masculine wound. I was molested by my brother when I was 6. Like, he molested by my brother, and then I would see my father physically, beat on my mom, etc. And then, as time kind of transitioned, I, was a teenager. I've always been a good girl, despite me growing up in Brownsville, my environment never dictated who I was. And, I remember my father just projected on me like, oh, BITCH, you're going to be pregnant in 2 weeks. And I'm looking at him like, boy, I'm 15. I'm not even thinking about having, intercourse. And I remember the first time I ever fought him. And it's so crazy. Recently, I'm like these last 2 months with my ass, but so much, had rise, and that 15-year-old girl that felt like the number one person in the world that was supposed to protect her, she had to protect herself from. And that energy alone stuck with me. So the energy transfer, I will say now looking back, it would transfer with each man that I would attract. And that's because unconsciously, I had that energy, stored in my root and my sacral energy. So these men on the outside with the same, I want to say low vibrational entity, attachment, or whatever demonic entity, my father had on him from being hurt, right? From his father, because
Mhm.
hurt people, kind of like attracted the same type of men. And my last test, my last test, was recently. And you could not tell me that this person was not my soulmate. I held on to this person for 10 years. I had 6 kids, he was in and out of jail, etc. And it was kind of like I just knew in my soul, like, oh, I want to be with him. And that was the ultimate test right there. And, we got back around each other. And I remember, being with him, and I remember seeing my father and my brother facing his face. So I'm like, why is this happening? I'm like, I'm not, being bugged out or anything. I know that this is that person, but why am I seeing these faces in this person? At that moment, I knew that that energy was connected, to him. And it was for me to like release and choose myself. And that was really me like reclaiming my power back from not only that situation, but it went to the masculine wound as well.
Yeah.
So our parents, that's our first heartbreaks. That kind of like shapes our realities. Like it really does.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. First of all, congratulations. I'm so
Thank
proud of you. Like that is so beautiful to just be
you.
able to like rise from, because like in situations like that you can easily become like a victim more of like a survivor. You know what I mean? Like so many of us, or so many like people are so quick to become in the victim mindset. And we unfortunately, like, I was one of those people, definitely was in the victim mindset instead of like in the survivor mindset, like, oh, this happened and stuff like that. But then also you rise from it and you be like, okay, I'm not gonna let that keep holding me down. This is getting tired. Let me break
Mhm.
because yeah, this
Yeah.
is this is not where it's at. Like
Yeah.
it's very tiring. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. I cannot keep doing
Mhm.
this whatsoever. And I definitely empathize with what you went through. Unfortunately, I was also molested by a family member from 3 to 8 years old. So I definitely
Mhm.
understand. I definitely empathize with that.
Mhm.
But
That's right.
being able to like speak about it and like talk about it, that's like your way of like freeing. Like I realized that I have felt more free I've ever felt in my life. No matter how many times people tried to silence me, no matter how many
Mhm.
times people definitely like when it's in your family, they'd be like, "Oh, well, just stop speaking about it and just stop this is that." Like, I understand it makes you uncomfortable. Imagine how uncomfortable it made me feel. Oh,
Exactly.
okay, like.
Or when the family doesn't want to accept it. So, like, what about so in 2013, I had a nervous breakdown. Like I thought that I was gone, I wasn't coming back. I was hearing voices and suicidal thoughts, etc. And this was my first time, ever voluntarily, admitting myself into the crazy house, etc.
Mm.
So, the first time I ever sat with a psychiatrist, they got real deep, and they want to know what about the childhood, et cetera. This is the first time I've ever spoken about this. And in 2013, I was a 23-year-old woman. This was happening between 6 and 8. So it was like now this resurfaces. And I'm sitting with her, and this is the first time that I've ever like dug in the closet. And I remember hearing Eminem's song, I'm cleaning out my closet. I remember hearing it, and she dumped,
Wow.
and that came up. And she
Mhm.
said, oh, here you go. She said, you've been so strong for so long, suppressing it, maybe being functional, like having functional depression to the point where you could move around. But it then caught up on you so much that you have to, like, I've had major depression, psychotic features, generalized anxiety disorder. Okay. I was in there telling them, please send my son away, please. I don't want him because my mom was like things was telling me to hurt him. And I'm like, no, I don't supposed to be thinking that, I'm a mom, I'm supposed to protect him. So I'm in these facilities and I'm in the white people, I'm in these people's faces and I'm like, hey, yeah, it's time, let me give my son to, his father and et cetera. And they was like, no, we're not gonna let you do that. You're going through something. And that was the first time I really dealt with that. And I came home and I felt so relieved, to be able to speak that to her to where, I started to come home and talk about it. No, that didn't happen. Oh, my mother called me crazy. Oh, you just came out the crazy house. You crazy. And everybody didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. I said, you know what? As long as, I got it off my chest, that was something that was so heavy on me because from a young age, I was protecting my mom. I could have came out and said what was going on, you know, but I
Yeah,
was protecting her because you was already, getting knocked out for nothing. So it's like I just knew to like I gotta protect my mom. So it's like I'm going through these things and I can't really tell nobody. So it's like I protected you. So it's like when I came home and you told me I'm lying, it was like, oh, a smack, boom, like straight to my face. Um, and I kind of like just
yeah, I
yeah.
get you.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like it's it's really you can't control nobody else's feelings but yourself at the end of the day. All you can do is just control your reactions to it, but allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to feel like the anger, but try to like move it into different ways. And that's definitely like something that I will be like touching on like within like my next episode for sure because
Energy transmutation, yes, it's
yes,
powerful.
if you let the anger get the best of you, it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, I hope that y'all are seeking some type of guidance through this, definitely tap in with me and Earth. We will definitely love to have you. Whoever energy you feel flown to. Look, one thing about it, we ain't gatekeeping nothing. We ain't sitting up there and being like, oh no, I want all the customers. Hold on. No, I don't want all that energy. My energy don't align with those people. And your energy
Right.
like, oh, okay, I'm gonna move you over to this person that can help you because I feel like their energy will be best for you at this moment. So
Right.
definitely you can reach out to Earth and I. We got
Yeah.
your back. Tell them where they can find you.
So I rank Earth Angels you on TikTok. I'm also the Unconscious Conversations on YouTube. Um, yeah, like it's time for us to just move, in accord and unity and love. And that's really that God essence. So if you've been through the shit and you just looking, to find a way and, just looking for like, yo, I just want to know that somebody experienced what I did and they're coming out like we here. Like we
Yes,
here.
most definitely, most definitely. You guys can find me on TikTok at Gwen's Peace and on Instagram at beautiful_Brit17. So definitely hit us up. We are definitely here to help you on your guidance. And I'm so excited to continue to like work with you and like do more videos and do more like meetings and everything. Like I'm really excited about where our journey will go. And I love you, sister. I appreciate you. Thank you for being
Likewise.
you. Thank you.
I appreciate you as well. I really, really do. We definitely got to do the transmutation of the energy because we're going to teach them how to get fine.
No, for real. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. But yes,
Definitely. That's
guys,
what it
we love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you.